Oh, okay, friends. So yeah, we have seen yesterday that Yashodhara had created a peace circle. She went to the community to bring the peace among everyone, and or and she created a path of on the path of right relation. She brought everyone together and made brought harmony among everyone in the village. And we have seen King's transformation and his proclamation about Buddha. And also we have seen Rahula was ordained as a youngest monk and he joined Buddha Sangha. And we have also seen how Ashodhara had gone through so much emotions and pain. And we also saw Prajapati and Women Sangha. They joined the Buddha Sangha uh, to, to enhance their learning, and they wanted to stay close to the Buddha Sangha, so they can grow spiritually and they can learn more teachings from Buddha. And Yashodhara doesn't want to join Prajapati and Women Sangha, but she had no other choice because Rahul has gone and she had no one in the palace. So she decided to join Women Sangha, and she also accompanied along with all the women. And they joined Buddha Sangha, and they lived beside monks' camp. So that's where we ended up yesterday, and let's continue today, masters. Okay. So yeah, we have seen Chena also accompanied the Women Sangha uh, when they were going. They walked so many miles, and they joined Buddha Sangha. And the Buddha was did not allow initially, but later they allowed them with some restrictions, right? Some rules they put on for women. And after a woman reached the Buddha Sangha, Chana came back, and he just wanted to live with his family, kids and wife. So he went back to his house. And Prajapati and Yashodhara, they both lived separate from Buddha monks' camp or monastery. And they also sat separately when Buddha gave the teachings, right? So you can see in this picture. So monks would sit separate in the other side, and women nuns would sit separately. And then Prajapati, as we saw, she very deeply following Buddha's teachings very closely because she wanted to learn everything from Buddha. So from the beginning, she's been leaned towards Buddha's teachings, and she continue to do that. And she got so much of knowledge in their women's sangha or in women's nuns group. So she would give all the dharma talks or wisdom sharing, right? We do wisdom sharing wherever we go in our meetings or in meditation sessions, right? So that's the Prajapati is the elderly person. She used to give all dharma talks wherever the Buddha Sangha goes. And by listening to her talks, all the women and all the people wherever they go, they would attract to her talk, and they all would come and join the Buddha Sangha. And they would when everybody come, people they whoever wanted like uh, wanted some shelter, or they were like abandoned, or if they are suffering with the relationship in the family, or if they have a painful situation with the missing loved ones, they all would come and join their sangha. So Yashodhara would recollect her own past memories as they share their stories, right? So as Prajapati came into her life, and she nurtured her and she brought her out of her pain when Buddha left her and when Rahula was little. So as Prajapati, they were doing in the circle, right? They also used to do their own circle in their own monastery, their own women camp. So she would, as they were sharing, she would recollect, and she would remember how they developed this peace circle, and how they grown into their spiritual path. And they, because they had their own women sangha in the monastery, they used to do their own daily routine rituals, like meditation or sharing their wisdom or sharing their stories. All new people would come and share their thing, and they all would be compassionate, deep listening, and they would invite other women. That's how they would expand their knowledge, and expand and make everyone understand what they do, and bring them everyone into the circle, and give them the wisdom sharing. And this and in everyone participate in the circle, and listening and sharing, and they would understand, and they become a master, right? Once over the time you listen all these talks and knowledge, and then you become master. So that's what they're calling it here, as a ripe moments arrived. So with the ripe moments on the path of awakening means, everybody already who come, new people would come, new women would come in the circle, and they understand, they come out of their pain and suffering, and then they are ready to give knowledge to the others. So that's what the ripe moment is. So their circle has grown, as you see here. Um, there's so many women have joined, and they got so many bigger group, bigger sangha in the women monastery. And Prajapati focused more on the women sangha, and they would go sometimes with the Buddha's meetings, and some or Buddha's teaching. Wherever the sangha moves, they would accompany to Buddha, and sometimes they would stay back in their monastery, and they would develop their own spiritual path. And they also would go to the nearby villages to give a spiritual wisdom, and give them, bring all the sufferers over in the nearby village, and they would give their teachings to those people, so that they can learn from their wisdom, and they can also apply into their life, and they can come out of their pain or suffering. So that's what they also done. And so when they were when they were going into the, they would go along with the Buddha Sangha, right? So when they go, Veshodara used to see sometimes Rahula, right? Because he's also part of Buddha Sangha. So, but they won't have any interaction, but she would just see him walking by or going for alms from place to place. And every time she saw him, Rahula, all the pain would come to the surface, right? How she raised him, and he's with the monks sangha, and she's missing Rahula so much, because still she has attachment, because she's a mother, and all she wanted is like live in the relationship. She doesn't want to go away and leave everything, and just live by yourself independently, but she wanted in the close relationship. So then Prajapati Prajapati, she's been noticing this painful situation with the Ashodhara, and she wanted to talk with her, 101. She just wanted to bring him to the circle and just wanted to talk with Ashodhara separately. And she asked Ashodhara that why is it not possible for you to commit fully to the awakened one's path and practices? So because it's obvious, right? Prajapati, Buddha's mother, she's been following Buddha's teachings, and she's just growing, and she's learning new things, and she's happy, and she's teaching everyone and all. But every time she sees Yashodhara, she always is in pain. So she just asked, hey, why don't you fully commit to the teachings and the practices of Buddha? And then Yashodhara said, dear one, you and I had different relations with him when he was in Siddhartha. When he was Siddhartha. So when he was a Siddhartha, they both had different relationship. Prajapati as a mother and Yashodhara as a wife, and she had a small baby. So obviously they were like just about to grow their family, right? So and she missing Buddha very much, and now she missing Rahula too. So she never experienced that the relationship, the family relationship, and so that's what she's explaining to Prajapati. So and she's continuing, in a way he's still Siddhartha to me, and despite trying all these years, I can never totally forgive Siddhartha for what he did and all that has occurred. So she's telling, like, he's still Siddhartha to you. I think it should be this to you. But despite whatever he has done, he never going to excuse Buddha. That's what she's telling. And Yashodhara sensed Prajapati's ignorance, right? Because she's just ignoring, because she's not ready to listen to whatever she says, because she's happy and she's just blindly, she's saying, yeah, just follow his teachings. So they are so wise teachings he's giving, and just practice and be happy like that, right? But those days she never accepted his teachings, and she never wanted to detach from Rahula and detach from the family life. So she's continuing like in an angry voice, please see this, please. I will never again be able to sit alone with my son, right? So she's just so much of pain, emotion in her heart, and she's telling, like, see, I'm missing him and I cannot sit with him again. So how can I accept everything? And they're all in front of him, right? In front of her. So it's hard for her to digest all these things. And Prajapati was shocked by hearing these words, because she was a little louder. Then she said, I know, she said, the Prajapati is talking now, but the Buddha has spoken about this clinging, and has shown a way through it. So she's trying to tell her that, yeah, that's what Buddha is teaching. So detach everything and just be away from this clinging, because he already showing the path for you to stay happy life and move with your spiritual journey. That's what Prajapati said to Ashodhara. And then see, Ashodhara is talking, she's like so much of this, she's already emotional and she's a little bit angry. And then now she's saying, clinging, is that what you call this bond between mother and child? Is it a deep a love as any? It is a deep love as anyone can know. It's not about letting go or about renouncing the bond with him. It is about all of us together as one sangha, and never losing this special bond. So yeah, she's like doesn't want to accept that as the relationship bondage between mother and son as a clinging. It's true, right? It's like clinging means it's like that relationship, mother son or mother child relationship is not called, it's more than clinging. It's not a clinging at all. So she's like expressing her emotion with Prajapati. So it's not the letting go, or it's not an ensuring the bond between us, but it's like staying together in one sangha and never losing the special bond, because she's always wanted to be together in relationship. And she's continuing, I'm not sure I can remain here, Prajapati. So then she said like, yeah, I don't think I can stay like this, right? Because she's never happy in that, even though she followed Prajapati's and the women Sangha all the way to Buddha's, but she was not happy. Totally, she's not happy. She just went to so that she can see his son, her son. Then Prajapati said, dear one, I know you are disappointed in me. I may have to leave. It's painful, but it may be the only way I can. Yeah. So she's continuing that. Yeah, Prajapati, you are maybe the disappointed in me, but I may have to leave. It's painful, but it may be only way I can survive. I know it's painful, if she stay here, it's painful, but even if she leaves also, she doesn't have anyone when she leave this women Sangha or Buddha Sangha. So that is also painful. I know it's painful to survive, but I may have to leave. That's what she's telling. Like the grace of your compassion, when you first came towards me, when I wanted to die, I chose life. She's studying like, yeah, you showed me compassion, and you made me out of my suffering, but I may still have to leave this sangha. I have a strange sense that when I walk out of this sangha and fully commit to the shade path, I will feel a rush of life and alive as when he left me and our baby so suddenly that I wanted to die. So she's like bringing, like, I know when I leave this Sangha and if I commit to shade path, that path of right relation, then I would feel the same emotion, like, when Buddha left me and I wanted to die, but you came and you made me, uh, mm, gave me compassion and you made me happy and go through all these painful situations. I may feel the same thing. And then Prajapati, then after hearing Ashodhara's comments, she said, yeah, he caused us great suffering, yes, but that suffering created our path and our awakening together, and we can be grateful for that. So she's saying, I know he caused us the pain, but because of that pain, we both became together and we created our own shared path. So can't be grateful for that? So she's telling that. And Yashodhara nodded. Yes, I am. The Buddha himself cannot walk this path. I sense that deeply. But he opened the way for me, and I will never abandon it. Yeah, she's now nodding and kind of accepting that. I know he showed us the path uh, and gave the opportunity for us to create our own shared path, the path of awakening. Um, but he can't himself walk in this path because he was not in a relation, right? So he was not in the relationship, and but he's showing the teachings and the kind of a path for everyone to adopt and follow and do practices. So that's what she's telling to Prajapati. I will take for these teachings and help to create a shared path. I will stay for now. So she's now kind of agreeing that okay, I will stay now. I will take his teachings and try to create my our own shared path. Can both these teachings coexist together as they belong? I'm not sure. And she's just talking to herself that yeah, can these both path coexist together? Because he went outside and as he's living in the sangha, but He just left everything. He left the relationship and staying outside and teaching. And he's in the Sangha, but it's not really a relationship, right? It's like a teacher and student kind of a relationship he's maintaining there. But here she's like with the relationship. So she's in the Sangha. So she's telling like, yeah, can this Sangha and that Sangha coexist, and mm, they can mix together, and can they go together? So both the Sangha can come. Why can't they combine these both the Sanghas? But she's like bringing like kind of, even though she's in the Sangha, but she doesn't want to just go out and stay. She just wants everyone come here, come into the village and come stay together. Everybody stay with their family, and can't we do that? So similar typing of what we are going through right now, what the Patriji had created for us. So we are teaching, we are following those paths, and we are in the Sangha, but we are not left everyone, right? We are with our family, but and also we are with the meditator Sangha. So we are Sangha with the family and with the Sangha. So she kind of wanted both go together. And Prajapati smiled and gently said, dear one, yes, I understand. So she's also kind of, yeah, she got a, Yashodhara has a point, right? So she said, yes, it is, that's true kind of thing. She said, yes, I understand. Together, we try to join, yeah, together they try to join uh, Buddha's wisdom sharing practices to expand both the, they would go to the Buddha Sangha and they would listen to Buddha, and then they would come to their Sangha, in the monastery, their own camp with the women Sangha, and they would also take those teachings and they would, discuss in their group, and so that they can also create their own teachings. So just like we are following our Buddha's little bit of teachings, and Patriji gave our teachings, and he said like, yeah, follow your own path, be your own master, right? So that's what they are trying to do here. So they're taking Buddha's teachings and they are sharing among in their women sangha, and they are creating their own wisdom. And Prajapati recognized as an enlightened one, and Arahat known as Mahaprajapati. So since Mahaprajapati has been giving all the wisdom talks wherever the Sangha goes outside in the Buddha Sangha, so she would give one, so they all recognized her as a Mahaprajapati. And now the movements are more valued, even though they had so many restrictions, to separate from women's Buddha Sangha, but they were all recognized, and they were becoming like they are becoming arahats, and like senior nuns. So they were all like recognizing women basically. And then they are chanting, like they chant in the morning or evening rituals they have in the meditation, or in the circle, in their peace circle they have a chant in one of the vows they have given here. So may we be God for those who need protection, a guide for those on the path, a boat, a raft, a bridge for those who wish to cross the flood. May we be a lamp in the darkness, a resting place for the weary, healing medicine for all who are sick, a vase of plenty, a tree of miracles, and for the boundless multitudes of living beings. May we bring sustenance and awakening, enduring like the earth and the sky, until all beings are freed from sorrow, and all are awakened together. So this is their part of their vows they do whenever they do their circles, right? And then so yeah, they are recognized, right? So Prajapati and Yashodhara, they all are recognized as full arahat, like an experienced masters, you can call arahats. And but Yashodhara still could not embrace Buddha's teachings fully. even though she was recognized among one of the women nuns, but she still can't completely accept those teachings. And Yashodhara is talking. I kept wondering what if in that second meeting I had with Buddha in the pine grove, he had said to me, Dear one, let us go out and teach a true shared path where the two paths meet together. So she's like, whatever we just now we saw, right? She's still leaning towards like what when she had a second meet, right? The Deepa ma'am had shared. He came to the palace and she wanted to have a conversation only with the Buddha, and he had come and she shared all this experience, all her yeah experience sharing, like how she came out of her misery and pain while he was gone. So, he offered his teachings to Yashodhara, right? So in that meet, if you would have said that, yes, that path and this path, let's go together and let's live together and give our teachings, and same time we can have our own shared path and on the path of awakening. So she's just still thinking how beautiful it would have been. And with the joy, she's continuing, what a time that might have been, what a path that might have become. So that path, that's what she wanted. She would have said that, yeah, you're doing the same thing and I'm also doing, and it's done now. Whatever I have to know the truth or liberation or enlightenment I have done, now let's do together. Let's continue our journey together. So what if you would have said that, it would have been beautiful. Then Prajapati, after that, Prajapati became ill, and Yashodhara is kind of taking all the women sanghas activities, right? The new woman would join, and she would take all those rituals, uh, bringing them into the sangha and giving the teachings, and doing their vows and doing their rituals. So those things she's still continuing. And then Yashodhara is saying like this, as she had come to me so many years before, so Prajapati had come to her life, I went to her beside to attend to her and be with her through her death. So she wanted to be with her because Prajapati got sick, because when she was there for Yashodhara, right? So she decided to be with her and be with her during her period of that sickness, or until she go through her death. And Buddha was so far, and she knew that she would never ask him to come and visit her. And she just put everything aside and she just stayed with the Prajapati as she was going through or her last life or last time of her death. And they both, they since they had kind of a quiet time there, and they both shared their experiences, like how how Prajapati came into her life, and they created the shared circle or shared path, and they were both were together, and they had a great sharing and great life, and they went to the community and they learned from each other. So she's just recollecting all those things. And even though Prajapati was very sick, she still tried to maintain her emotion, and she was listening to Yashodhara when she was with her. And Yashodhara and Prajapati was calling that time when she was on her deathbed. She was calling her as a bodhisattva. The bodhisattva means the one who holds back from attaining nirvana. Nirvana is like full enlightenment, right? And goes forth to help others along the path. So who stays back and help everyone to and go together. They enlighten together, not individually. So that's what Prajapati is calling Yashodhara as a bodhisattva. And she's kind of now at the end, she realized that what her path Yashodhara had gone through, how so much of pain and so much of suffering, and she had become a very enlightened one, and she doesn't want to enlighten alone. She wanted to be there her, for everyone. And with the tears, Yashodhara spoke Prajapati's words. Prajapati said her last words when she was sick before her death. She said, "You have tried hard to keep alive our path of awakening and going forth together on the path of right relation. But the truth of this doorway is already being lost because they have walked so long." And she's saying like it's you already walked so long, and so much of wisdom you have, and it's already is we are losing that. We must keep it alive. Yashodhara, dear one, you must tell your story, and all must listen deeply. And remember, you must be heard. So at the end, she realized, what Yashodhara is fighting for and what she is looking for, right? The path of right relation. That's what she wanted, and that's why she called her as a bodhisattva. And she wanted her to share her story with everyone, so that everyone can uh, enlighten and everyone can come out of their pain or suffering. And Shodhara was, with her quietly, and Prajapati closed her last, closed her eyes and took last breath. And once again, Yashodhara was in sorrow, and she felt herself born into unknown. Right. So all these years, at least Prajapati was with her, beside her, and she was following Prajapati wherever she goes because she was there. Because of her, she learned so much, so many things about relationship and about how to teach others and how to be there when somebody is in pain. So all those things she learned, and she created her own wisdom, the own circle shade path. And now she's gone. Now she's again became alone. And Yashodhara and other novices accompanied her body, the Prajapati's body, and took the body to the palace where king is his palace. And the king did this cremation, and she was the first arahat, the first woman ordained by the Buddha. So she was a great lady, right? She gone through the suffering when Maya, her sister, left, and she kind of handled, raised Buddha Siddhartha when he was a Siddhartha. And she taught. She also brought Shodhara out of her pain, and she had a beautiful life and so much of wisdom. And when everything is over, they the both so she doesn't want to go back, after these rituals and all, the death ceremony and the Prajapatis is over. She doesn't want to go back to the Buddha Sangha. She doesn't want to subdue her story. She doesn't want to make her story as a hidden story, because already Prajapati had told her that, yeah, your story has to be heard by everyone. So you need to start sharing your story and create your own path. So she wanted to create her own path now, because now she has no one, and she's choosing to live herself, and she wanted to stay back, not go and join again to Buddha Sangha. And Kisa Gautami and Naila stayed with Yashodhara because they're friends, right? We have seen like mustard seed Gautami. and they wanted to continue Buddha. Sorry, Yashodhara. And Suddhodana invited Yashodhara to stay in the palace. And he offered that she could stay with him in the palace, but she rejected that. She wanted a small hut, squirrel sanctuary, like the small hut kind of thing beside the palace. So she requested to have that, and she wanted to live in that hut. And the king agreed to that her request, and he built a small hut kind of a house for her, so where she can stay, and she wanted to give her teachings to everyone. So she kept her doors open for everyone, whoever come to her for inquiry. If anybody has any questions, she would give those teachings to them, offer those teachings to them, and share her story. Because Yashodhara also had gone through so much of suffering from, since she got a Rahula and since Buddha left her. So she decided to teach whoever stays with her and whoever come to her. And after Prajapati, Prajapati uh, left her, or after her death, Yashodhara became very strong leader again. She was a little stronger, but now she got more clarity, and she became more, because now nobody she can lean on, right? So she got a clarity. And then now she can live freely. Earlier, she has so much of hesitation. She didn't accept herself completely or accept Buddha's teachings and everything. So she was like, 50-50. She's all over. But now she can be live freely and with so much of freedom, and she doesn't need to cling on anyone, even on the Buddha, who is awakened one. So she's thinking that, yeah, I can just live my own life here, and I can give my teachings, and whatever life she wanted to live, she wanted to live in that beside that palace in a small hut. And she wanted to keep all the possibilities alive, and keep her doors open for shared mutual inquiries. Whoever come, she would keep her own shared circle and give all her teachings, whatever she learned and whatever experiences she had gone through. And when you share your experience, you also learn so much from others is sharing as well, right? So she got so much of knowledge, and so much of knowledge from others' wisdom sharing. So she became so much of realized, and she's trying to give. She got more wisdom from sharing to others and listening to others' story as well. And she also used to visit other communities. Some people would come and ask her to give her wisdom sharing or her teachings or her experience to nearby villages, and she would go there, and she would create a peace circle there as well, so that everybody can learn from her wisdom and her experiences, and they all would implement in their life. And Chana and their kids and wife, everybody joined Shodhara for their inquiry as well. And Chana is his Shodhara's spiritual friend, right? So she always talk about him and talk about his uh, uh, support and help when Buddha left. He was a very close friend, a spiritual friend, like communicating all the things, what's happening with the Buddha and what he's doing and where is he, and all about Buddha. He used to convey to Yashodhara. So she would share all this experience with the people wherever she go. And Gautami traveled back to join Women Sangha, or the Buddha Sangha, and Nela stayed with Yashodhara. And then after a while, Gautami heard that Yashodhara died, and she traveled back to palace, and she wanted to know what had happened and how she lived her last life. And she came to palace, or to talk to Chana. And Chana said Yashodhara had died in a hurt of our love, because she was with the Chana and their family, right? So they showed so much of compassion to Yashodhara, and same Yashodhara also shared the same thing to with everyone and with the Chana and family. And Yashodhara was deep listener. She called this as a right listening and wise listening, the listening of one who has known great suffering, one who has lived through great love and loss and has come to peace, right? So she had gone through so much of suffering, and she came out of those sufferings, and she also shared so much of love and compassion to with others who are like who came approach to her. So he shared everything with the Gautami. And she felt that the silent meditation practice with the Buddha had come to fruition. So she did follow the meditation techniques taught by Buddha, right? So she completely followed Buddha's teachings and meditation practices in her shade circle. And she did like an opening, listening, and coming again and again to the wholeness of each moment, each relation. So she would listen to everyone who approached her, and she would again come to the center point, because she has to listen to so many people, right? So she listened to them, and she would bring back to herself in the center, and again she would listen to the other one. So that's what we do usually in the counseling. When you do counseling, you have so many patient guards come to you, and seeking their help, if they have any issues with their health or relationship or any emotional issues and all. Then we have to listen to so many people and give whatever the appropriate counseling or appropriate teachings or wisdom that they require, right? So you have to go and give them, and then come back to the center, so that you are ready to listen to others. So that's what she followed as well. And yeah, so Shodhara said, we together, we the invisible thread at the heart of the universe that connects us all. So she is talking about the, we are one, we are one, and we are connected in an invisible thread. We are in a part of the universal consciousness. And she never saw her son Rahula or Siddhartha again. So that's what Chana had conveyed all the messages to Gautami or whoever come and talk to him about Yashodhara. And before Yashodhara died, she seemed to see the future. She made a prophecy. While the conditions are not ripe today for a full flowering of this shade path, the seed have been planted. I do not know when, but sometime they will sprout, bud, and blossom. They will come time. So she saw this prophecy, right? So she's at least planting this shade path, path of awakening together. So she's planted now, because she taught to everyone, and so many people have took her wisdom and her teachings. And so that's what she's telling, yeah, at least the seeds has planted now. So I don't know when, but it's going to come to sprout and bud and blossom. So that's whatever we are reaping, friends. So that's what we are learning, everything from Yashodhara's, and we are all following her teachings. And Means basically we are taking some teachings. She also followed Buddha's, and but she's mainly showed the path for the contemporary life that we are going through. And Kisa Gotami's words are uh, she's telling that hear it, remember it, and pass it on. So she wanted to give this Yashodhara's story to everyone. So so this is what she also begin this book in the beginning, and she wanted to spread Yashodhara's teachings, Yashodhara's story to everyone. So she's telling, yeah, hear it and remember it and pass it on. Suffering in relationship is part of life. You do not have to be alone in it. Ask for help and show up and do meditation. So you will. So this is the shared path that Yashodhara had brought us together, friend. And some of the points for the relational spiritual practices is like they follow like vows or commitments together, and devotional practice they performed, and they had a circle practice, deep listening, right speech, caring for self and others, and relationship. And they would have some amendments to make adjustments, and then they practice the forgiveness and creating intentional support for creating relationships and spiritual awakening. So they used to follow these kind of relational spiritual practices in their circle. And if you compare with the path of Buddhas and Yashodharas, see, Buddha had like path of who goes forth, single journey, but here, whereas Yashodharas is illuminates the spiritual path for those who stays, right? So it's for us like contemporary life who are living. And this is awaken alone, growing awareness alone. But here, awakening together. That's what Yashodhara brought. The path of right relation and growing awareness together with others instead of like single awareness or single journey. It's like going with everyone. And Buddha had said, Apodipo Bhava, light your own lamp. But here Yashodhara says, you be light sometimes and you be light for others. So yeah, friends, yeah, this is a relational activist, who is planning to create their own relational circle or shared circle. Yeah, this book has given some tips for them to follow if anybody is planning to do the relational activists, and the same thing they followed in Yashodhara's path as well. So visionary, be a vision, have your own vision, realistic vision, and faithful to the vision. So fully have full faith on that and progress, and you see the continuation, continue to see the progress, and commit to the right relation and on the shared path and being with, accompanying others, and mutual presence. So always be there for others and awaken together, widening circles of care and compassion, coming forth into right relation, asking for help, showing up for others, participating in Sangha or community, becoming allies and partners, resisting demonization of others, living into non-separation, learning to see with Sangha eyes, and having a common vision, and building new connections through ruptures. So just invite everyone into the circle. That's what just they followed this when they created their shared path. So some reflections, friends. What formative experiences have you had with illness, old age, and death? So if you had any experiences with those, have you helped anyone who had gone through the illness or old age or death? And what role models have you had, like a teacher or a grandparent or a friend? What end of life stories have inspired you? So have you played any of these roles or anything inspired you out of this? What are your commitments now? What do you imagine they will be in future? And how are you preparing for them? So what are the obstacles in your way of staying through illness, old age, and death as a caregiver or as a elder? So have you had conversations with those who are ill, aging, and dying about their wishes or fears about end of life decisions? Have you been able to share your wishes or fears or concern? So yeah, friends, this is the end of the book sharing, and these are the some of the things that we can contemplate, and you can just think through, and if you have uh, anything to share regarding these topics here, yeah, please do come forward and share your experiences, friends. So yeah, we reached end of the book, and this is the last session of this That's wife Ishodhara. As friend, please feel free to share your comments or experiences about this book or any topic in general related to this topic. SW ma'am?
Yes, masters. Yeah, thank you, Swarna ma'am. Masters, any questions, any sharing? Please bring up your aspect on the last part, which Swarna ma'am has told. It's a beautiful concept to be discussed. Please raise your hands, masters. I'll unmute you. Yes, Jasbir ma'am. Yeah.
Ma'am, yeah. Actually, good morning and good evening to you. Ma'am, no questions. I'm just totally enchanted by this book, and I don't know how come I had not read this before, and I'm completely in love with this book now. I really love it because somewhere I have that feminist kind of a feel in me. I feel very bad for women who do not stand up for themselves and who do not, fight back, especially in this part of the world. There is a lot of problems which women have to face even before they get married and after they get married also. So I have always tried to be of some assistance, at work also. And even when I see the labor class, women are getting exploited and, I mean, so I think I'll learn a lot from this book and I'm going to read it word by word. Now I've already ordered it and I want to read it because, somewhere we forget that, I generally talk about when I say our life has four wheels, I always say the first wheel is our personal life. So normally it's very sad, 90% women, when I ask them, what is your personal life? They say husband and children and family. That's their personal life. So I've been trying to reinforce this, that this is my second wheel. My first wheel is myself. So that self-love somewhere is missing, especially here. Though people are now, but the percentage is less still. Deep down, again, we will, we are having food, and if it is less, we will always leave for our children and our husband, and we'll try to sort of sacrifice. And I don't resonate there at all. I think we have to be happy ourselves first before spreading happiness to others. So this is one of my mission with my group. I always motivate them, because somewhere down the line they forget that they have a personal life too. And with Yashodra's life, I totally think the actual middle path has been taught by her to us. The taking care of the family. Eventually, she took care of her mother-in-law. I mean, leaving and going away is very easy. That I'm going for enlightenment. But I feel, I don't know why we missed out, at least I missed out on her story. And we have always been reading stories on Buddha, and somewhere I missed out on this story. And yes, I'm totally enchanted by this book and by her life. Thank you, ma'am.
Oh, thank you, Jaspreet, ma'am. Thank you. Beautifully explained. Yeah, very well. Yeah, because it was not put in any books, right? So
Yeah.
from the beginning only, because Buddha had brought the teachings, but there's a like contemporary lifestyle is that's what Yashodhara brought. That's what we
Yeah.
are all following. Even our parents and everybody followed, but they don't know that they are following her, Yashodhara's path.
Yeah.
So yeah, at least now Patriji sir had brought this book, and he always into this woman, right? He always encourages women because he's like without woman nothing exists. So that's why Sitayanam and Shodhara, because of him we are reading now, and it's our
Yeah.
duty to spread her teachings to
Yes.
everyone. Just stand
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
create your own
Yeah.
path. We don't need to follow husband, or we don't need to follow someone. That's why we are in right direction, right
Yeah.
place.
Right.
So thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
And
even
I'm
the
proud of you.
untold story of Sita, that was also a new book for me. Untold story of
Exactly.
Sita.
Sitayanam.
I followed that also a little, but yes, they are. See, earlier I used to sound like a feminist, basically, which is not a little immature. But now I think I have the right understanding, and with this understanding, things are more clear and it makes more sense. It's not that I was the types to just stand up and koi naare lagana and all that, nothing like that. But yes, I do want people to exercise their fundamental duty, that they also come to live and they have a right to be happy. So the sad part is hum apne aap hi, ourselves, we get into that sacrificing mode.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. Yes, ma'am.
so
Yeah,
people
just
might find it selfish in the beginning. That my friends used to find it very selfish that you think about yourself first so much, and then I said, of course, only then I'm capable. When I was getting crippled, I'm sure people would not like that. Now, if I'm bedridden, and then what will my children do? So I have to take care of myself. Only then I will be of any use to them also later on in life. No? So otherwise, by this time, I would have been on a wheelchair. It's been 18 years. So yes, ma'am.
thank you very
Thank you.
much. Beautiful, beautiful energy. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, ma'am. This Yashodhara story was there long back, but our
Yeah.
parents, my mom shares me story. Oh my God, that gives me so teardrops, right? So much suffering they had gone through. Our parents,
Yeah.
the in-laws were like so much misery. Just
Yes.
follow a husband, follow in-laws. She
Yeah.
never enjoyed. So now I'm telling her, Mommy, you have to be like a queen. I always tell, just forget everyone. Just live your
Yeah.
life. Just yeah.
So in my younger days, I was taken as a rebel, because always I used to, why only boys should have all the fun types. But now I realize ki yes, it's basically hum hi piche chale jate hain. We think we have to take care of our children, we have to take care of the family. Earlier, we have to listen to our fathers. That's okay. All that, I'm not saying that we have to misbehave, but yes, we don't have to forget ourselves too. So sometimes we forget, and we have to stand for each other. I knew about this AA circle, but this compassion circle is very interesting and very nice. See, when all of us are sitting together, we can now share just anything. Last evening also, that soul family was being discussed. This is what a soul family is. We can just talk about just anything. We are not trying to impress each other, or we are not trying to compete with each other here. we are all there. Biological family is by default, and this is by choice. We made this soul family, and um, this circle should go on. I think it's a beautiful thing which Yashodhara started, right? And yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Beautiful. Yes, masters.
Yes, Vindhya ma'am, please unmute yourself.
Thank you, Swarna ma'am. Beautiful. I won't say ending, but beautiful session to close this part of it. But we're beginning this circle, like Jasbir ma'am said, and we already have this circle. We'll continue with it. Um, I I just wanted to say you said experiences with old age and death and everything. So for some reason, these past few days, I have been coming across with a lot of my parents, my father-in-law, and a lot of elderly people. And maybe it is because I'm in that stage where I have to take care of my parents. So I've seen closely how difficult it is for them and for us also. And what Jasbir ma'am said resonates so much, that we need to take care of ourselves. Otherwise, how she said, we would be in such a state where we would be dependent on everyone. You would be, but I have seen examples. I've seen a 95-year-old lady. I went to Europe and I met her, and she was, playing piano, singing, walking around, showing. She lives on the top floor and she walks up. And I mean, I'm not saying everyone can do, but we need to take care of ourselves. Just give me 1 second. I'll close the door. Yes, so I think definitely we need to look at ourselves, and such things like these, satsangas and swadhyayas that we're doing, and this circle that we are forming is very useful. It is putting things in perspective for us. Somewhere I heard, I don't know if it was Patri sir or someone saying that you have to, in life, you have to expose yourself to babies, old age, every age, because you understand life from babies, newborn babies, and when older people are coming close to death, you understand that whole circle of life. You do understand. And we will talk about circle more, like Lakshmi ma'am said, but I know we call this circle of life because death, life, death, life, death, it is a circle, like it keeps going on. And I think we should not stay away from, seeing death also. Like you have to be aware that death is there. But coming to US, it has made us be in one part of life. We never seen younger generation too much or older generation, and we've been in a bubble, and now I'm slowly coming out of it, getting exposed. And I think that is the natural part of life, not being in that bubble where you'll not always stay young forever. So facing death is something, a learning for everybody. And I'll share more, but I would like to hear from everybody else. Thank you.
Thank you, Vindhya ma'am. Thank you so much. Yeah, yes, masters. Can't hear you properly, ma'am. It's a disturbance or some noise is coming.
Yes, masters, any sharings, please do. We want to hear it from all of you.
Asha ma'am.
Yeah, it's a beautiful book, and it pretty much summarizes what our mothers and grandmothers and aunts and uncles went through their lives, and not recognized, or you know, they led similar lives because their husbands were busy doing their own thing. So the family was put together or held together by the rest of the people, along with the help of, like, my mom had some help from my grandmother, my dad's mom. So she could raise all six of us plus a cousin, and educated us and all that. My dad was there, of course, he was making the money to maintain the family, but we had a lot of good, what should I say, morals or whatever ethical issues were all taught by my grandmother. We were like gardening together and, grinding the rice or whatever for idli, whatever, and all that. Grinding. We didn't have machines in those days when I was growing up. We didn't have TV even, just radio. And so we had to do a lot of things with hands, and we had all kinds of vegetables, fruits, everything in our house, including pomegranates, guavas, everything. So it was so nicely inculcated in our raising how to work together to make things work smoothly, and that's what I understood from the book, how she, though she was grieving the loss of her husband, who left, went his own way to find his own path to wisdom. um, she it was hard, and with the help of her mother-in-law, she could hold things together and raise the Rahula until he was ready to take the path. It was hard for her to let him go, but again, she stood strong and continued the support circle. And I appreciate, again, I'm a women's right activist from when I was, a little girl. I said, if men can do something, why can't women do it? Like my grandmother used to say, you can't laugh loudly, you can't speak loudly, you have to be very quiet and submissive and all that. I didn't believe in that. I said, yes, we can speak when it's time to speak. I don't mean we have to speak against someone, but if there is time to speak, we should speak up and make our views known. I never believed in dowry either, and of course in our culture, when I was raised, there was dowry system, and when they asked for a dowry, I refused a couple of matches until my husband came along and he said no dowry, just wanted to marry a doctor. And I said that's fine, and made sure he wasn't a smoker or a drinker or a dating person. So I verified that, and that's when I agreed for the marriage. And my mom thought I was crazy, you should pay dowry and you should get married to a doctor. I said, that's not important. The principles are more important for me. So I always spoke my mind and tried to follow most of them. And I think I see, I'm not that great as Yashodhara, but her principles and her thought process was similar to mine. And she, really created a circle of peace and followed that and helped so many women um, through her teachings. So it's a wonderful book. And, we all should follow her strong qualities, and get over the grief of loss of people. Thank you
Thank,
so much, and thanks for listening to me. It
thank
was
you.
wonderful to listen to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Asha ma'am. Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you.
Yes, Deepa ma'am.
Yes, Ramakrishna.
Oh, Ramakrishna.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. This book we have been following through, and when you watch a movie also, either you associate yourself with a hero or a heroine or a main character, and you go along. And in this, we are all associated with Yashodhara, and that is a fact for every one of us. Okay, so we kind of developed that close relationship, with that. What I wanted to say is, like, a person's character, it comes out when the person is thrown under the bus. Okay, and that is what exactly happened to Yashodhara. She was a prince, and she had a beautiful life of adolescence, got married to a prince, and then she was having a real good life. And suddenly Siddhartha abandoned her. And the true nature of her, true abilities of her came out. This is what is, this ability of Yashodhara, to come out of the shackles of the security system, is the example of this. That one can feel, and how he held herself to bring up Rahula. And this feature you can also see in many of our, our families, where a woman either loses her husband, or a man is just set himself only to earn money and then leave everything for the wife. In all those cases, the women have taken care of the family. They brought up the children. They gave the culture, the ethics, the rules of the life and all that. So this is a great book, and thank you all, starting from Vindhya ma'am to Swarna ma'am, to bring up this chapter by chapter and then give it to us. Thank you so much. We owe you a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you
you.
very much for your inputs. Yeah, thank you very much.
The very thought which the sentence what you brought, that even Buddha could not follow this path. And probably I felt that fear of Buddha facing Yashodhara twice in the entire book. Once when he left, when she delivered the baby, he knew probably he would overcome his father's, restriction, but probably the love of Yashodhara he couldn't. So he just moved away. And the second time when that pine grove, right, they both sat in meditation. Even then, he left the place. Yeah, he left the place as it is. And the tear what he had when he was asked by her, because he knew it is not justified. What he did was not justified. He internally knew. And the forgiveness he asked, yeah, he did ask for the forgiveness. And that's where I feel the relation, still grew in an understanding as an husband and wife, that calmness melted, And why Yashodhara didn't move towards Buddha, I probably felt because she is grown in suffering, so much of strength is there in her that she felt that is not possible for everyone. To leave everything and go is not possible for everyone. She had to find another path. That's what I felt. Everyone played their role, Even Prajapati, at one point of time, she said, "See, look, I'm there for you when it was needed," to Yashodhara. But then she moved with her path. So everyone followed their own purpose. And that's what I feel. We are all in different roles at a different time, but then we need to know what role one can switch and accompany those. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. But yeah, it's a beautiful book. Thank you, Swarna ma'am, the entire master, Vinya ma'am, Madhu ma'am, and Deepa ma'am. Thank you. And of course, Chandra sir, Ravli ma'am, Gayatri ma'am, Naina ma'am, people behind the screen and off the screen. I really thank and bow to each one of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lakshmi ma'am. Beautiful sharing. And
Namaste,
yeah,
Swarna ma'am, and namaste to all other masters.
namaste.
I think this has been best learning book, which has taught so many things. You know, what I liked in this book is Pajapati, even though she was not the real mother of Siddhartha, she, accepted him as his own mother, took the duties, responsibilities as his mother at very young age when he needed her. Then when her mother, daughter-in-law needs her, how beautifully she supports there. This is what I felt very much, touched. It was in those days we are talking, so many years back. And also this Yashodhara molding herself into rock solid and trying to address each and everyone being in Sansara, helping each other. How beautifully she thought about each and everybody. It is very easy to go and sit in the Himalayas for my own self. Yes. But I think what real tap she did was amazing. And it wouldn't have been, so beautiful if not for all of you. Swanaji, Vindhaji, Deepaji, Madhuji. So beautifully you people have brought it up. And thank you so much. Thank you for spiritual tablets, Ashok sir, and whole of the one person, that is Chandra sir, who has given us so much of inputs, so much of his time. Wherever we needed him, he was there. Otherwise, without them, him, it was not possible. I suppose so. Ravli ma'am, being so busy, she was there always for us. Lakshmi ji. So everyone has contributed in their own ways. And I think there is a lot of learning to us in this. Let's carry that. And, I feel we should grow like them. Mother-in-law, daughter, there shouldn't be that gap of, in-laws, in-laws. We should break that monotony and live our life. It would be so, and the world would be so beautiful. Most of the problems arise there for ladies, even today. It may be from daughter-in-law or from the mother-in-law. So if those two, get adjusted, the whole household would be a heaven. So thank you so much for all of you. Thank you. And the audience, without whom we couldn't have made this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Narina ma'am. Thank you for your inputs. You are
Thank you.
one of the member for us to take to this path. And because of you all, you,
Beautifully said, ma'am. Yes. I hope you can hear me. Swana ma'am?
little breaking, ma'am. Yeah, I think, yeah, speak. Go ahead, ma'am. No,
Ravli ma'am, your voice is breaking.
breaking.
Gayatri ma'am, you can speak. I'll talk later.
Yeah, now you sound okay, ma'am. Your voice is fine. Sometimes it's just a
Oh,
sweat.
now I'm okay.
Now this is coming and going probably.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, Gayatri ma'am, you can unmute, please.
Yeah, thank you, Surnam. Thank you for the beautiful session. And what a beautiful book. And thank you to all the masters, each one of you, Vindhya ma'am, Madhu ma'am, Deepa ma'am, and Sorna ma'am, and all the masters. So much of the screen work also has happened. Hats off to Chandra sir, Lakshinam Ravali ma'am, Naina ma'am, all the masters. A culmination of all collective efforts in such a beautiful session run through from the beginning when the ma'am started from that time. And what a journey, Yashodhara's journey, so inspiring and so touching. We could feel like the pain that she goes through when she is left just on her own to deal with her own suffering and pain, and how bit by bit she built her strength and faced her own upheavals and build that sangha, the importance of sangha. So it is so important to each one of us to have a sangha in our own families, like maybe close cousins circle, and in your own friend circle, having a small circle of sangha, and in your workplace too, having a sangha, to really do that heartfelt sharings and to help out each other and to build a strong peer, you know, um, circle. I think very old, like when people used to live close to nature, I think they used to have a lot of groups, they used to live close to nature. They used to have this sisterhood and all groups coming together. They had that close knit. So that made them survive through a lot of thick and thin because of the survival mode that they used to live in, um, in small communities. So I think that is lost due to urbanization. So that has to be what in every sphere of life. And it has been a great learning. Yashodhara, Buddha left everything and became enlightened. But Yashodhara stays back. She's with the people, taking care of everyone, playing her responsibility as a mother and as a daughter-in-law, as the queen of that place, and as a princess of that place, and keeping that sangha alive, making that sangha, and even implementing Buddha's teaching as well in the sangha, and becoming enlightened. So very beautiful journey, which was not seen because we always constantly speak only about Buddha. So it was such a beautiful journey of listening to Yashodhara's journey. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Gayatri ma'am. Thank you very much. Good explanation.
Yeah, Swarna ma'am, can you hear me now?
Yeah, now it's fine, ma'am.
Okay. So whatever the book, this book talks about, I feel that we're always surrounded by people who are responsible for creating changes in your life, and they touch you to the core. And these are the people who touch your deepest unconscious layers. How Siddhartha has moved away from the family had, created a change and a havoc in the life of Yashodhara. So these kind of situations we see in our day-to-day life, they're either we are surrounded by such kind of a people, they'll either highlight your weaknesses that we all need to work on as a part of our soul purpose, or they give you great strengths in your life, whatever the situation is. And these will always come from the people you are most closely surrounded by, be it your husband, be it your mother-in-law, father-in-law, or anyone. So I think this whole story of Yashodhara reflects on that we need to see the same aspect. We need to see ourselves as Yashodhara, ourselves as Prajapati, ourselves as any character that you see in this book. We can associate some or the other situation in our life. And when we try to look in that perspective, we'll see that these people around us, they have created that kind of situation as a part of our soul plan, or as a part of our learning, that will either highlight our beautiful strengths that we have where we can work on. That's how Yashodhara came out. She formed a compassion circle. She understood that what importance of forgiveness, importance of gratitude, importance of letting go, importance of understanding other person. So we need to understand that we are always surrounded by these kind of people, and what is the learning that we are getting from these kind of people. So that's the story that basically this whole book brings about. So I think that was my understanding this book, and that's the beauty of this book, that we need to be in connection with everyone. This journey on this planet Earth is not alone. We have to express our emotions. We have some deep core emotions that we can't express to our loved ones or our relatives or anything. At that point of time, this whole compassion circle or this sangha that we form, where each person understands the other person, like at the soul level, sees the person as a soul level, understands that emotions without any judgment. I think that really opens up, that helps the person to let go of that baggage. And that's why we this book reading or this book sessions, I'm more excited towards the end where people start sharing their experiences, because there the more, what do you say, wisdom keeps flowing. And that's the beauty of this book club that was beautifully brought down by Deepa ma'am, Gayatri ma'am, Lakshmi ma'am, Naina ma'am, Swarna ma'am, Madhu ma'am, especially Chandra sir, and Vindhya ma'am also. So thank you so much for your wonderful PPTs, your sharings, your perspectives, everything. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ravli ma'am. Beautiful. You summarized very well. And you covered every topic in this book. So yeah, thank you very much. Your inputs were always counted in our discussion. So thank you very much for everything. Yes, Master, please come forward and share your experience about this book, or if you had any experience in the past, especially if you were there for someone's life or someone's pain, or if someone were there in your pain, were you able to accept those, someone, usually when we are in pain, we don't accept everyone, right? You just they say that, hey, give me some time, leave me alone, all those things. And we just keep on in that circle and in our own emotions, and it's after that it's hard to come out of it. So yeah, if you had encountered any of those situations in your life, please come forward and share, or if you have learned anything from others who were there, uh, so we can learn from that situation. And also yesterday's question, Lakshmi ma'am had put on us that why it is called a niche circle, right? Shared circle, peace circle, healing circle. So why that circle name came into picture in this book. So if anybody has thoughts on that, yeah, please come forward and share your understanding on circle. So to me, like, circle is like, circle is in a same level. So everybody can see each other and everyone can hear everyone, there's no up or there's no down or side or corner, right? So everyone are on same level. And also this universe is a consciousness. Everything is, we can call it everywhere, like Purnam, right? So the Purnam is like whole. So probably that's why this one has depicted. So with there's no, everywhere is equality. So that's my takeaway on that circle, Master. So yeah, if you have any other understanding, please share your inputs on that. Yeah, Deepa ma'am. Yeah, please.
Yeah.
It is still little fluctuating, ma'am. Yours is still fluctuating, your voice.
I'll hold it close to my this thing. Yeah.
Yeah, now it is clear. Yeah, it's
Yeah. Yeah, I would like to share one incident. When Lakshmi ma'am asked me to accept this book, do this book club, I was little hesitant. I was not really accepting it from my heart. 1 week passed, and again she had called me to ask whether it's okay for you to do this book. Then still I was not ready because of my communication skills. I was worried about my English since I've studied in Kannada medium. I was magnifying my weakness there. So I was not accepting. That day, she had called me thrice, and that day I was little. I got irritated, and I was using this hot water bag, and I was sleeping because of my joint pains. I just took the hot water bag and just slept over it. That moment, I was thinking, why this Lakshmi ma'am and this Yashodhara ma is behind me. They're haunting me like anything, where I don't want to be there on that
platform or US group especially, and since I have studied in Kannada medium, that was my weakness, and I was magnifying it like anything. And then at that moment I got this thought, and that hot water bath bursted out, and that hot water fell on my this